Go love your own enemies. Don't be loving mine. My enemies are the theocratic fascists. I don't love them. I want to destroy them.
You're a child made in the image of God. Oh no, you're not. You're a faggot. And you can't join your church and you can't go to heaven. This is disgraceful. It's inhuman.
Okay, try to imagine you're listening to an expert talking about, okay, I won't even say he's an expert. He's somebody who likes to think he's an expert. Talking about runners. And he's saying that somebody who runs cross country, they're not really runners. They're cross country racers is what they are. They're not runners. Does that make any sense? Somebody who, now, you know, I classify runners as somebody who sprints, who does sprints, runs in short races. That's a runner. Somebody who races cross country, that's not a runner. That's a marathon person. Marathon racer, not a runner. Sorry, it's hard for me to even make this analogy because it's so stupid. Does that make any sense? Okay, so there's this thing on HuffPost Religion. Reza Aslan, Sam Harris, and New Atheists aren't even atheists. So New Atheists aren't even atheists? Interesting. Shall we delve deeper into this insanely stupid article? And who? Reza Aslan. Okay. And he's apparently a very, very knowledgeable about what people are. Yeah. And he calls, renowned scholar calls Harris Dawkins anti-theists, and as dogmatic fundamentalists as true believers. What's a true believer? I'm curious to know. True believer as opposed to fake believer or pretend believer? Okay, so what is an anti-theist? Before I read the article, a brief description of an anti-theist. An anti-theist is an atheist. You know the term angry atheist that you hear all the time? I think more often than not, if you find an angry atheist, somebody who's pissed off, somebody who wants to fight the system, you find yourself an anti-theist. That person is an anti-theist, or to some degree is an anti-theist. That doesn't mean they're not an atheist. They still don't believe in God. All an atheist is somebody who doesn't believe in God. It's a person who doesn't believe in God, parentheses, atheist, who takes it a step further. Rather like the sprinter, he's a runner, you know, but the distance marathon person is a runner who takes it a step further. They're still runners, both of them. And saying that the guy who runs the distance isn't a runner is absurd. Saying that an anti-theist is not an atheist is absurd. You can't deny the fact that or cancel out the fact that he doesn't believe in God. He's an anti-theist, sure. He's out there, he's slugging away, trying to fucking destroy Christianity because it's a vile cult. But he's still an atheist. He still doesn't believe in God. He's angry, yes. He's not angry at God. He's not angry at Christians. And he's not hateful to everyone's, you're just spreading your hate everywhere. You're a hateful person. They don't hate Christians. Anti-theists, I don't believe. I mean, I can't speak for a whole group of people. I can only speak for myself. But there's no hatred toward an individual here. It's hatred toward a thing that's bad. It's the same as hating the Nazi movement. You know, it's bad. It needs to be called out for what it is, a vile, evil thing. Okay, maybe some people find some way to make it a warm, fuzzy positive in their life, but overall, It does bad things. It harms people. It harms society. It harms the world. And some people get angry. And I think more often than not, anti-theists or angry atheists, because I really think they're one and the same most of the time, are people like myself who used to be a theist, who used to walk around in a bubble, who are so, they went a huge chunk of their life, some of us, thinking that this is truth. True, Christianity is true, and everything else is bad. I think a lot of anti-theists are former Christians who are a little bit pissed off. Maybe not so much at the fact that they were lied to their whole lives, but the fact that they were so stupid as to fall for the lies. Believe blindly without even pausing for a moment to consider, gee, is any of this really true? The Bible's inspired by God. Maybe I should do a little research because I mean, how do they know the Bible's inspired by God? Where do they get that? How do they know a God exists? Where do they get that? No, I just believed. I didn't pause for a moment to question any of it. I just believed, and I let it change my life in not so good ways, and affect me and damage me, and contribute to the damage. So anyway, let's read the article, because this guy seems to think that an anti-theist is not an atheist. Or an atheist is not an anti-theist. An anti-theist is a kind of atheist. Somebody who basically is a little pissed off and wanting to help people, wanting to make the world a better place. That's what an anti-theist is. An anti-theist is somebody who wants to make a difference. So let's hear what Mr. Reza Aslan says. Not long ago, I gave an interview in which I said that my biggest problem with so-called new atheists like Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins is that they give atheism a bad name. Almost immediately, I was bombarded on social media by atheist fans of the two men who were incensed that I would pontificate, I think, about a community to which I did not belong. That in itself wasn't surprising. As a scholar of religions, I'm used to receiving comments like this from the communities I study. What surprises me is how many of these comments appeared to take for granted that in criticizing new atheism, I was criticizing atheism itself, as though the two are one and the same. They are one and the same. There was a picture on Facebook that I agree with. It shows new atheism and old atheism. Old atheism. You know what? I'm going to put it as the picture for this video. Old atheism has a Christian holding a Bible up, saying something to the atheist, and the atheist has his mouth shut. The picture showing new atheism, same Christian with the Bible in the air saying something, and the new atheist is saying no. They're speaking out. That's the difference. Anyway, I'm going to reread this paragraph because it didn't come out right. Okay, so he got bombarded with criticism. That in itself wasn't surprising. As a scholar of religions, I'm used to receiving comments like this from the communities I study. What surprises me is how many of these comments appear to take for granted that in criticizing new atheism, I was criticizing atheism itself, as though the two are one and the same. That seems an increasingly common mistake these days. With the media and the bestseller list dominated by new atheist voices denouncing religion as innately backwards, obscuranists, irrational, and dangerous, and condemning those who disagree as religious apologists. Apologists call themselves apologists, just saying. To be sure, there is plenty to criticize in any religion, and no ideology, religious or otherwise, should be immune to criticism. I agree. But when Richard Dawkins describes religion as one of the world's great evils, comparably comparable to the smallpox virus, or when Sam Harris proudly declares, if I could wave a magic wand and get rid of either rape or religion, I would not hesitate to get rid of religion. It should be perfectly obvious to all that these men do not speak for the majority of atheists. I have to, again, insert something. No atheist agrees with the next atheist. Atheists are very known for the fact that they don't agree with each other. On the contrary, polls show that only a small fraction of atheists in the U.S. share such extreme opposition to religious faith. I don't think that's true. In fact, not only is the new atheism, now just say atheism, please, not representative of atheism. Atheist, somebody who doesn't believe in God. Quit talking about it like it's a organization, please. It isn't even mere atheism, and it certainly is not new. No, it isn't. It's been going, there's always been atheists. What Harris Dawkins and their ilk are preaching is a polemic that has been around since the 18th century, one properly termed anti-theism. Okay, again, I just need to insert the fact that some atheists are anti-theists. They still are atheists, however. They are just anti-theists about it. It's a characteristic of that kind of atheism. It's not a different animal. I'm getting kind of angry reading this. And by the way, I am reading this for the first time. The earliest known English record of the term anti-theist dates back to 1788, but the first citation of the word can be found in the 1833 edition of the Oxford English Dictionary, where it is defined as one opposed to belief in the existence of a God. Italics, mine. In other words, while an atheist believes there is no God and so follows no religion, an anti-theist opposes the very idea of religious belief, often viewing religion as an insidious force that must be rooted from society, forcibly if necessary. And how do these two things contradict each other? How come you seem to think that you cannot be both an atheist and an anti-theist? An atheist is one opposed to belief in the existence of God. Wait. No, okay. Okay, so I'm sorry, I misread that. An anti-theist is somebody who's opposed to belief in the existence of a God. Okay? An atheist is someone who believes there's no God. Seems to me that those two do not contradict each other. You can be an atheist and be an anti-theist. And that's what I think angry atheists are. They are atheists who are opposed to the belief in imaginary things and beliefs that cause harm to society. The late Christopher Hitchens, and if he badmouths Christopher Hitchens, I'm going to punch him. Or at least I'll punch my screen. One of the icons of the new atheist movement, just say atheist please, we're all atheists, understood this difference well. I'm not even an atheist so much as I am an anti-theist, he wrote in his letter to a young contrarian. I not only maintain that all religions are versions of the same untruth, but I hold that the influence of churches in the effect of religious belief is positively harmful. So he's basically an anti-theist. He identifies more with his opposition against the harm that these cults cause. He's still an atheist. He doesn't believe in God. All you have to do is listen to any of his interviews or his debates. He doesn't believe in God. So yes, he identifies more with his anti-theism. He's still an atheist, however. It's like saying you know what, I had a bad analogy pop into my head and I'm going to ignore it. It's a bad analogy. I'm cutting this off. I started reading this article and I don't like how it's going. It's very long and a lot of history about what the word atheist means and where it came from and blah, 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 blah. And it's just, I don't feel like having a big long read and stumbling over a bunch of words because I will. It's a guarantee. I don't feel like doing that this morning. I'm going to put the link to the article in this video, and you can read it yourself. But it's just, it just angers me because I don't like the fact that people like this person tries to categorize and label people and put them in little boxes. Oh, you're a positive atheist because you're into positive atheism because you approach it like this. Oh, you're into negative atheism because you approach it like this. You're an anti-theist. No, you're a new atheist as opposed to an old atheist. We're all atheists. Every time you look at an atheist and see the individual, you're going to see a different take on atheism than the last atheist that you met. Every atheist is going to have a different story, a different feeling inside about how they see the world and how they see religion hurting or affecting the world. Not all atheists are going to think that religion hurts the world. Some of us do. The ones that do are going to have a reactionary feeling. They're going to want to try to stop the bad. If you were in Nazi Germany and you saw Nazis herding the Jews into trucks, you would either be somebody who, yeah, well, okay, maybe you think it's a good thing because you've been programmed by your state, or maybe you see it as an abomination and you try to oppose it. And of course, by doing that, you get persecuted and maybe even killed for trying to help people. Which is what I think happens a lot with anti-theists. They get called they're labeled as haters. They're labeled as angry atheists. I think a lot of anti-theists have the world's best interests as their, in their heart. They see it as a big harm against a lot of important things, like the health of our society, like the future of our planet, like I'm trying to think of the word I want to, like the maintaining of somebody's self-esteem. You don't tear a child down and tell them that they're broken and that they're corrupt and that they deserve to be tortured forever just because they were born. You don't tell a child that. Anti-theists are people who see it and see it as harmful, and they want to try to stop it. They want to try to help people to see that it's a lie. They want to try to help people from stumbling and getting ensnared into something that might harm them, and certainly will contribute to continually harming the planet and society. That's how I see anti-theism. An anti-theist is an atheist who sees, who takes a little extra time to really look at the big picture and sees what it's doing. In my 52 years, and I hate to say it, but my birthday is tomorrow, so I kind of have to now, I have seen the stamp of Christianity on this country, the United States. I have seen what it has done to the United States. Not only have I seen what it's done to me as a person, and now that I'm stepped away from it, I can look back and really see it objectively, and from a distance, I can see how belief in this cult hurt me. But I can also see in the time that I've been on this earth, it's how it has eroded this nation from the inside. It has weakened this country. It has caused division. United we stand, divided we fall. And what is the great divider? What is the greatest divider of all? Religion. And Christianity is one of the worst of them when it comes to that. So that's my take. There is no such thing as new atheists. The only difference between new atheists and old atheists is new atheists open their mouths and speak. They don't hold their tongue. They don't bite their tongue. They don't pretend that, their beliefs, their opinion isn't being squashed. They don't try to overlook the fact that people are looking at them like they're evil just because they can't believe in something, because they haven't been convinced. The atheists of today are tired of being treated like that. The atheists of today, and I don't mean all atheists, because again, everyone is different, but a lot of them are tired of it, and enough is enough. Atheism is the one minority that it's still okay to ridicule. and say that we don't have any morals, say we have no ethics, say we don't even know what the difference is between right and wrong because we don't believe in your beliefs. Atheism is the only minority where there are states in this nation that say you can't even run for office if you're an atheist. Excuse me? Imagine if there were 8 states in this country that said you can't run for office if you're Hispanic. You can't run for office if you have epilepsy. You can't run for office if you're fat. Can you imagine anything that said that? But it's okay to have 8 states in this nation that say you can't run for office if you don't believe in God. Atheism is the one minority that it's still okay to persecute and ridicule. Anyway, so atheists are speaking out. Maybe it's new to some Christians who liked the olden days when atheists held their tongue and just suffered in silence. But those days are over. Christianity has become a problem. In the nations that are not infested by Islam, those nations are infested by Christianity. Luckily, there are some nations in the world that don't have either. And you know what? Those are the ones that have the lowest crime rate, the least amount of people in prisons. Those secular nations that don't have either Islam or Christianity in them are the healthiest nations on the planet. Doesn't that tell you something? Tells me something. I would love to see the United States be like that. I would love to see Europe be like that. I'd love to see the what is happening in Europe, or whatever. I hesitate to speak about this because I haven't really read very much about it. I've just watched videos, and maybe it'll show by my statement here, but it seems to me that what's happening in the United States, what Christianity is doing to the United States, Islam is trying to do in other nations. Create Sharia law or or however it's pronounced in Western nations. Let's put women as second class in other nations. Let's spread that poison, making women second class, making women guilty until they prove themselves innocent in other countries besides the Muslim. Let's just spread the poison. That's it. Spread the poison. Between Christianity and Islam, the future looks kind of bleak right now for women, because both of those cults want women to be, have no control over their bodies, have basically, don't talk in church, women. Go home and ask your husbands. Women should not have any authority over men. I don't know. That's one thing I have to say in my time on this earth. It is getting so old. I cannot believe that it is the 21st century and women are still trying to be equal. And then there's people who hate feminism. Well, yeah, because there's some feminists that give it a bad name. Feminism, the original intent of feminism, before these people that gave it a bad name, was that all people should be equal. Equal opportunity for reaching their full potential. And that's the kind of feminist I am. I don't think either gender is better than the other. And I think we should all be treated with respect and consideration and not expect anything more. So that's all. This got long again. If you've been watching, thank you. Bye.
I am absolutely convinced that the main source of hatred in the world is religion. And I think it should be religion treated with ridicule and hatred and contempt.